everybody, and welcome back to the United Stand. It is 7 heaven as Manchester United put 7 goals past Barnsley to move through to the next round of the Carabao Cup. And take it in, breathe it in, because I don't know if we'll see many of these results in the future. I hope we do, but it was really nice to just get some goals under our belt and have a nice watch, an enjoyable watch, and see multiple players get on the score sheet, multiple players get some assists, Ricky. Yep. And we're gonna delve into everything and talk about everything with you guys and also the panel as well. We've got Kev, Mordzs and Ricky once again.
How are you doing? All right.
I'm good, you know. I'm feeling good. I don't mind doing this forum this late when we've got 7 goals to talk about, and you know, can we play you every week? We'd have to go down to League One, but still. And there will be so many people, Mordzs, saying, you know, it's just Barnsley. You know, they're a League One side. The real test comes against Crystal Palace on Saturday. And they are right, but overall, confidence-wise, it's going to do them a world of good, this team, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I said before, maybe I sound shameless, but I don't care if it's just Barnsley. You've got to play these in front of you. You can't choose every single team that you play against. Eventually, you're going to have to play a team that's in a lower division. And we've seen loads of times teams in lower divisions come out of nowhere and beat bigger opposition. So, end of the day, you have to put in the performance. You have to go out there, and when you try and take these teams for granted, that's when you end up losing. You know, you have to go out there with the confidence of, we are United, we are the better team. We're going to show them why we're the better team and why we're the bigger team, and that's why we beat them 7-0. So, yeah, it might be a smaller team, but we still did our job and did it the best way. And
clean sheet as well, which is always really important. I noticed, even in the last 5 minutes, Mazraoui making a really good tackle, and it's like, you're 7-0 up, you don't really need to do that, but the fact you are doing that shows that mentality that they want to keep a clean sheet, they want to do as best as they can. And Ten Hag as well, Ricky. Ten Hag was taking no prisoners with his bench and his substitutions as well. Do you feel like Ten Hag really wanted to go out there and show this team can score goals? You know, we hadn't won a game by a 4-goal margin since Erik Ten Hag had been in the job, and we hadn't put 6 goals past the team since before COVID times when we played Roma, I think it was, under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So do you think it was important for Ten Hag to show everyone, you know, we can score goals, and do you feel like he wanted to do that tonight?
I think he might well have wanted to do that, but despite the fact that it's only Barnsley, it doesn't automatically happen. I mean, last season we played Newport County and Wigan, you know, one's in the same division as Barnsley, one's in a division lower, and we won 4-2 and 2-0. That was in the FA Cup. I know they're from the Championship, but it was 3-0 up against Coventry and ended up drawing 3-3. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just because you want to do it doesn't mean it's automatically going to happen. And he did want to score a few goals, but I think probably going off what's happened before against these lower teams, where we've not scraped it, but I think that Newport game, I think we were only 3-2 up with about 10 minutes to go, if my memory serves, and we got quite a late goal. So obviously, you know, you're thinking at the time that goal could have gone their way instead of our way, and we'd been 3-3. But I think maybe he's fielded a stronger team as he felt he could field, just to make sure he got through, as opposed to scoring lots of goals. And then once the goals started to flow, of course, he'll have been over the moon.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kev, I know, you know, everyone will be saying it's only Barnsley, it's League One, but Ricky is right, you know, with them games that we played last year, it still was like not an unreal performance, and the game you still felt they could get a goal against us, and you know we aren't looking like we can score that many goals in the games against the lesser teams, which we did play last season. So you know, you fast forward to this season, is it a bit of a reach to say that is a vast improvement? You know, yeah, at Old Trafford, Barnsley barely got a sniff. You get the job done and you go and fill your boots and get them goals. Is that an improvement you can see then?
It is, because you look to last season, like Ricky says, we did struggle in these games to get 7. It's a massive improvement, massive.
Was it you that said we haven't scored more than 3 goals, something like that, against Ten Hag?
No, we'd scored 4. We'd never scored 5 under Ten Hag, so obviously we've settled that tonight. And we hadn't won by more than a 3-goal margin under Erik Ten Hag until obviously tonight. We hadn't won by a 4-goal margin, so that was something that a lot of people were talking about. And I feel like tonight it's like, you know, we had that.
We were clinical, weren't we?
Yeah, we had that clinical edge, and as well, it's like, of course we should be beating Barnsley, of course we should be. But you know, that Brighton game, I actually thought we were the better team and should have won the game, but the Liverpool game really knocked us, and it was a poor performance. And you know, you get back on track against Southampton, people say it's only Southampton, then you score 7 against Barnsley, it's only Barnsley. Hopefully, you know, we've got 10 goals from the last 2 games. going into that Crystal Palace game, Selhurst Park's always been a tough place for us to go. That should give the team confidence. It really should.
It's the fact they never took the kind of foot off the pedal as well this evening. We have struggled in games like this in the past, but I think that the thing that's different this kind of season is you've got so many players knocking on the door that actually want to be in this team. So I think when you looked at the start, Collier was probably the surprise, because when you actually seen the team come out, you kind of looked and thought, well, where does he fit in? And then it become apparent he was playing left back, and you think, right, okay, that's a bit different in itself. But to see Ugarte obviously getting his first start, 60 minutes, did well, but it's the attackers. We've struggled for goals, and they're actually all sort of competing against each other now. And
seems to be working together as well. We'll talk about that because I want to bring up Marcus Rashford very, very soon. But I just want to bring in this quote by Erik ten Hag after the game. I mean, what do you think about this, Ricky? This seems to now be Erik ten Hag's new line. He said, "I was not devastated after Liverpool, and now I am not celebrating. We are on a journey. We will see where we are in May." Very diplomatic from Erik. What do you make of that?
I quite like it, but I'd like it more if we'd just had a good win in the Premier League. I don't mean by 7-0. If we'd just won 2 or 3-0 against a half-decent team in the Premier League, I'd be more impressed with him.
I think whatever we say this evening, we're going to get beaten with this brush of it's only Barnsley. But you have to be professional. You go out and do your job. And you have to look at other teams. If this was maybe Man City, Liverpool, I'm sure they'd say they've gone out there, they've done a professional job. That's what the headline should be tomorrow. But at the same time, we don't want to gas it up too much. We're into the next round.
Yeah, Daniel Sturridge says, getting there, Eriksen was outstanding tonight. United One said, Casemiro proved issue his system, class today in a pivot. Again, we're only against Barnsley. Wayne Finnegan said, efficient, professional and clinical. But you know what, you can only beat what's in front of you, and we will talk about it. So first and foremost, I wanted to bring up Marcus Rashford. I mean, Mordzs, we spoke about on the build-up show, before Erik ten Hag, played Rashford up front to build on that confidence and build off the goal from the Southampton game. Didn't have an international break, whereas other players did play in that, so it was a bit more fresh. And tonight, what we saw, which I feel like we've lacked for a while, is one, confidence from Rashford, but two, obviously linking up with the wingers a lot better as well. I mean, what did you make of his performance tonight?
I thought it was a good performance, to be fair. I think, to be fair, he was drifting a lot to the wings. He didn't necessarily play right down the middle. He wasn't like, for example, how Højlund would normally play. It's exactly like a target man almost. Rashford was drifting out, and he was using that link-up play with Garnacho, with Antony, and creating those chances. So I think he is naturally a player that will drift out wide to make those chances. And I think his goal kind of came from... where did his goal come from? I think the ball came...
Garnacho,
yeah,
that ball over the top, brilliant switcher play.
Cross-field pass, he's got it, gone past one player and playing a corner. And even the last goal again was a Garnacho assist, Rashford running in behind, and then he's obviously finished it with his left foot. So I think it was a good performance overall. I don't think even himself is going to think, oh, okay, this is like a well-beaten performance, like a world-class performance. He's probably going to know, okay, I've done the job, I've done what I needed to do. I just need to continue to build on this form and building this momentum into the Premier League. And look, I get it. Crystal Palace, it's going to be a lot more difficult, but this is definitely going to be something that's going to help him a lot. Yeah,
it's definitely something to build off. I mean, Ricky, we were saying, Rashford under Ten Hag the first season scored so many goals. Last season, obviously, was a really poor season for him. Do you think this might work from Ten Hag? Keep persisting with that faith in him. Scored against Southampton, scored 2 today, could have had a hat-trick. Do you think he might kick on now?
Really difficult to know the answer to that, Beth. He might well do, but it's a fantastic game football, isn't it? Sometimes you have a tiny little spell, and sometimes it go, I'd like him to kick on and score plenty of goals, but I don't think, there's no guarantees. We can't guarantee it. What
was interesting, Kev, was obviously, he was interlinking with Garnacho. I mean, seeing celebrations together, it's on the screen behind you. And they had some really nice play together. They were working really well, but also he was coming and helping and linking up with Antony too. And Antony, ended up winning that penalty through a pass from Marcus Rashford where they were linking up. And, Antony needs confidence right now. He's obviously, not where he wants to be in the team and wants to be playing more minutes and hasn't had the performances at Manchester United he would have wanted. Rashford brilliant opportunity for him to probably get a hat-trick in this game. Clearly was the penalty taker. Antony grabs the ball and basically asks Rashford if he can take it. Do you like that from Rashford, sort of being like, yeah, Antony, let's get your confidence up, even though he could have really, you know, tried to get a hat-trick himself?
I think it depends what stage of the game you're at. I'm a kind of firm believer in that if you've got a set penalty taker, it should be that. And sometimes gestures like that. But again, it probably shows you more where Antony's at this moment in time. You know, definitely really, really low on confidence. Needed that goal, probably to give him a lift. So, again, it's Barnsley, innit?
Yeah, but that's still like... one thing that I'll say about Rashford is that the positive that I will take from it is a lot of the times, a lot of problems that Rashford has, in my opinion, is like that simple final shot, that simple final finish, or the simple final pass that he just might mess up a little bit, which you expect him to make. And it doesn't matter what team you come up against, if you're one-on-one with a goalkeeper, you should be finishing it regardless. I don't care who that goalkeeper is. If you're one-on-one as an attacker, whether it's a winger or striker, you should be finishing if you're one-on-one. And a lot of times, Rashford would miss. He might just go past the post, or he might be saved by the keeper. Today, he finishes chances, which is something...
It's a major confidence boost.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, I think giving that penalty to Antony was really good from Rashford, because I think he was clearly the penalty taker. People saying he weren't on a hat-trick in that moment. I know he wasn't, but it was a very good opportunity for him to get a hat-trick in that game. And, you know, if he would have took the penalty, he would have, potentially, you never know if he would have gone on and scored that goal, but, you know, he could have had a hat-trick, and Antony wasn't a penalty taker, and he give it to him because his teammate needed that confidence. I like that from Rashford, and I will praise that all day, because some players in that moment will be like, you know what, this is a really good opportunity for me to get a hat-trick here, but he actually give it to his teammate. So fair play to Rashford on that. I think that was a really good move, and it shows like the unity within the squad. But also, not only that, people will say it's only Barnsley, and we'll keep saying this, but from Antony, you know, he needs that goal, of course he does, but I think it takes a lot of like, basically, you know, it takes a lot of
guts.
Yeah, it takes a lot of guts to be like, no, I'm taking this off Rashford and I'm having it, because, okay, yeah, you would expect him to score, and obviously he has the belief he can score, but if he then misses that at 1-0, like, and it's like, you can't even score a penalty against Barnsley, then the criticism goes even higher and the heat gets turned up. So there, it's like, it's a bold move for him to be like, you know what, I'm taking that because I need that goal. So fair play to both of them in that moment. I think it was a good move. And if it was, don't get me wrong, if you're against like Real Madrid in the Champions League, or you're even against, or even at Selhurst Park on Saturday, it's an absolute no. But at the end of the day, you know, as much as you've got to respect the opposition, you know, you kind of gauge a game where it's at, and I thought it was a good move for the point for the game that we were in. I think
it was all right because he actually stuck it away. If he'd have missed it, we'd be sat here saying different. I think. Yeah.
I know what. I think I would.
What's he taking a penalty for?
Small moments though in the game can change everything.
I still would have said it was a good move from Rashford, but obviously that's what I'm talking about. Antony would have got even more heat than what he's previously got. I mean, speaking of Antony, obviously he got a full game today. Looked really determined to kind of show himself. I mean, Kev, what did you make of his performance?
Well, considering I've not seen him for what seems a very long time, he looked good, but I just feel like we could do this whole show by saying it's Barnsley, you know.
Well, compared to the other players, you know what I mean?
Like,
compared to the other attackers.
Well, you looked even against Newport last season, you know, he got a bit excited, maybe over-celebrated his goal that he scored there, and people were kind of, laughing and saying, you can't be carrying on like that. But as a performance for a player who's not really been in the team at all, it's good. And again, this evening all comes down to confidence, and it's all about bringing that feel-good factor to Selhurst Park against Crystal Palace on Saturday. You know, this won't really mean much if we don't get a result for me on Saturday. It's all building from Southampton, the 3-0, 7-0 now, Carabao Cup. Look ahead to Crystal Palace, really.
Mordzs, you were speaking on the build-up show about Antony, you know, solidifying his place as an impact sub, which he hasn't even really been able to do this season. I think he's had like 1 minute in the Premier League. But you said you think he can, potentially be that impact sub. You don't think he'll be a starter. I mean, do you think he showed that he does have a role in the team tonight? Because for me personally, again, the opposition isn't amazing, but as much as, I wouldn't be starting him, I do think he has a role coming off the bench, and I do think he did do some positive things.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think he was... Anyone who says he was terrible is a liar. And anyone who says he had a bad game is lying. I think he had I'm not going to say great game, but he definitely did what he needed to do. He was direct. He didn't seem like he was trying to play it safe or anything. It looked like he wanted to impress Ten Hag, and that's exactly what we wanted him to do.
Take risk as well.
Take risk, yeah. So even like, for example, that penalty, making that run, and then obviously shielding the ball and getting the penalty, it's a positive. It's what we wanted him to do. So I think the only problem that he obviously has is just the fact that in his position, he can only play his position, if that makes sense. But whereas we saw Ahmad come on the left today, and he still had a good game. We've seen Garnacho play on both sides, have a good game. Rashford played down the middle today, scored 2 goals, whereas Antony can only play on the right, and that's the most, most difficult
Play
thing.
left back as well, Mordzs, don't forget.
I mean, if he played left back today, it's up to him really. But yeah, the problem that he really has is just the fact that there's just 2 better players in his position. So as an impact, unless one of those guys has to move to the left and try and accommodate him, it's still going to be difficult for him to get in the team.
And we were talking about on the Monday show, weren't we, the comments that Erik Ten Hag had kind of alluded to the fact that, that's what we read into, is that Antony wasn't actually kind of training well. So what a way to respond. That's all he can do. He's been thrown in at the team today. You go out, do the business. He's done it. He's had a good game.
You could see that he had the bit between his teeth to try and make an impact, Ricky. And I mean, what did you think? I thought the relationship with his fullback when it was Dal and then when it was Mazraoui, I thought that was good. I thought he was, the way he took on his fullback quite a few times and was trying to beat him for pace. I think he showed his pace a little bit more, which we've been wanting him to do that. But what did you make of his overall game? It's hard to tell against his oppositions, but
he did as well as you could expect him to do against the opposition he was against, and obviously we know that he sometimes struggles, and even though he showed his pace a bit more, he still has to come back. He will not keep going because it's on his right foot, you know what I mean? I would absolutely love to see him get a game on the left wing, and it's never ever going to happen. It's never ever going to happen.
There was a few instances today where he's gone out on that right foot, and it's just so predictable, isn't it? You just know that there's not a chance he's going to try. It's literally for standing, that foot, and moves do break down because Antony cuts back on his left, and anybody that knows him, it's so easy to play against because you show him onto that right foot, and if he cuts in, it's quite easy to kind of defend against.
I think he is trying to use his right more, and I think you did see that today, and you saw it when he came on against. You saw it when he came on against Brighton. The first thing he did was go down the line and put a crossing with his right foot. So he has said, he's even spoke publicly saying, he's going to try and do that more because obviously that has been a criticism. So if he does get that chance off the bench, which is obviously his next step, that's what you want to see more of. The one thing I would say is I don't think he looked out of place tonight. Like everyone always goes in on Antony, but he looked, Garnacho and Rashford didn't look out of place. I do think Garnacho, Rashford, Ahmad though, they're all that just level above. And that's he's got to work hard to try and get into that sub spot. I mean, speaking of Garnacho, and we will move on to other players in a second, I know a lot of people want to talk about Eriksen, which we will do. But speaking of Garnacho, I mean, how many goals and assist contributions so far now this season? I mean, Ricky, Garnacho...
Barnsley.
He shut you up. Shut you up, Ricky.
It's only Barnsley.
I know, but...
I've got to click off.
He's
Apologise.
found his level. He's
He does well against Barnsley. Yeah.
No matter
Division one.
who your opposition is, that ball over the top to Rashford's a class ball to put through. I think one of his things he needed to work on was his 1v1s because he'd missed a couple of them over the course of his United career. Stuck his 1v1, was on a hat-trick, seemed disappointed to come off him, but obviously you're going to be, but, Erik Ten Hag, giving Ahmad some game time. But overall, I mean, we'll do our player of the match at the end, but he's definitely got to be right up there, surely.
Got to be up there with 2 goals and 2 assists, even though I'm not bothered who gets the goals and assists after the game. It is worth noting.
He'll be bothered when it's Eriksen, though.
It is worth noting that somebody got 2 goals and 2 assists.
Again, Mordzs, does it look like he's kind of trying to... He's got something to prove as well, trying to get that starting spot, because so far this season, I mean, what is it now? How many goal contributions is it? So it's quite a few. I'll have to look it up now.
10 maybe.
Yeah, and he's
this season.
Yeah, you think about that. He had four. He had 4 before this game. He's got 8 so he's 8 now.
8.
Oh wait, why did I say 10?
So he's got 8. He's got 8 goal contributions so far this season, and I think he started 2 games.
I was going to say as a
Not
substitute.
Bad, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's 7. It's 7. I'm being told it keeps going down. It's 7. It's still good though.
Yeah. No. I think it's great. I think I've always said about Garnacho that being, an impact sub is where I think his place is in the team for now, anyway. But every time he comes on the pitch, he does make a big contribution. And to be fair, I think his game today was actually slightly different because we rarely ever see Garnacho playing that long ball that he played to Rashford. Usually it's Rashford playing that long ball to Garnacho, the other way around, but he's obviously adding something to his game. Getting those 2 assists, that they weren't normal, like I said, they weren't the normal kind of assist that you would normally get. He would usually like take it down the wing or take it to the edge of the box or whatever and then cross it in or something. But now we're seeing him create chances from a bit further back. So he's added a little bit to his game. And for a 19-year-old, at the end of the day, that's all we want to see. We just want to see him progress.
I've seen his decision-making improve as well. Like, he was looking for goal a lot previously. Now I've seen him look up, try and give Eriksen the ball today when probably he should have shot. A couple of other times as well, he's looked up, even when he's on his hat-trick, and tried to pass it into Xerxes or maybe Eriksen again. It was a United player anyway, and you like that, you know, maturity coming into his game because it's not all about you getting the goals, but you've also got to look for your teammates as well, and that's why he is also getting them assists. I mean, here's an interesting one, Kev. Ricky will love this. Garnacho has scored as many goals in the last 4 days as Sancho has scored this year. Get in. Also, so far this season, goals to Antony 1, goals to Sancho. So we love a penalty. I'm joking, but you know, it's confidence for a player that, you know, has kind of lost his starting place but still making a massive impact.
That's what I was going to say. If you're Garnacho, you want to be starting these games. You don't want to be referred to as some kind of super sub or impact player. He's 19 years old. I wouldn't say he's lost his place. I think after the Copa America, maybe you look at that and think he's played a hell of a lot of football, but yeah, he won't want to be an impact. You mentioned it before, haven't you? And we've sat here and said, well, at this moment in time, he is making an impact off the bench, but as a footballer at that age, he won't want to be kind of labelled as some kind of super sub. He want to be starting every week. So he's certainly, again, it's just refreshing to have for him to perform like that this evening, really.
And it's a good thing to have this conversation we spoke about in the build-up show, Mordzs, because it brings the best out of the other players because you know you're not settled. Like last year, Garnacho and Rashford knew that they'd be starting basically every game because Ten Hag had no other options. Ahmad was injured and then he didn't really fancy him. Sancho we fell out with and he wasn't even in the squad. So they didn't have that. Whereas now Ahmad's come in and created that competition because he's been so good. And it's like even now, you know, even players like Garnacho's trying to fight in for a starting spot. Antony's fighting for some minutes off the bench. You want that competition. HXA says Garnacho with cold emojis. Yeah, he was cold tonight and just kind of suits his new hair as well. Simon Thornton says, my 12-year-old daughter Kimberly's first time at Old Trafford. What an amazing night and memories. She is now hooked. I hope she goes many more times.
I thought he was going to say she could have scored them goals, but anyway, go on, carry on.
She might have been able to get it.
I was going to say, make sure she realises that doesn't happen every week. I don't want off that.
Take her to a few more games in the Premier League and see she's still up there. Test the loyalty out. But anyway, let's move on to a player that everyone's talking about in the chat, and it's a big talking point. I have to come to Ricky on this one. Christian Eriksen, Ricky. Is he starting against Crystal Palace on Saturday?
It's a tough one, isn't it? I mean, I'd be thinking of starting him without tonight's game, if you understand what I mean. Not because of tonight's game.
Yeah. Well, based off his Southampton performance,
yeah, he looks after the ball so well. I think we do play better when he plays. And well, you know what I said. I put it in. I might have been the only United fan who put him in my team before the manager even did, because I picked him last week in my line-up and it's still there to be seen. We underestimate him. He's a really, really controlled player and he looks after it well. And I'm not talking about tonight's game. People say, oh, it's only Barnsley.
What do you think his best position is?
Probably
10.
Probably a 10, but he's all right in the middle as well.
I generally think an 8. I think his best position is an 8. He got them 2 goals when he came on, and you know Bruno was more of the 10. I still think he was good in the 10 today, but I think he can play 8 as long as he's got someone secure next to him.
Yeah. And that goal, he rolled back the ears today, didn't he? The sprint.
That was a brilliant finish. That first goal.
brilliant finish.
Some of the football we saw, I mean, again, like, you know, the opposition were down, they were out, and like, you know, it's like a training game at this point. But some of the football we saw was really nice, and that Bruno and Eriksen link up was dead good. I mean, Bruno got
people,
2 assists, Ricky.
I'm sure people will say in the comments, he's saying Eriksen got a great finish, but it's against Barnsley. I meant to say it before, but you was all whoever was in full flow. I think it was Mordzs. Rashford's first goal today is a fantastic finish. Doesn't matter who it's against, it is an absolutely fantastic finish.
Great piece of skill as well.
Great piece of skill and a great finish.
Did you want to say his run as well? Talk about his run that we were talking about. You know, when people say he can't run, but he made that run into the box.
I don't remember it. Who Rashford?
No, you were talking about
Eriksen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I was talking about Rashford there for a minute because he scored a great goal as well, despite who it's against. Eriksen's first goal. I pointed out to Beth that he started in the middle of his own half, or maybe in the front third of his own half, and then knocks the ball in from the edge of the 6-yard box, and it's probably in the 75th minute or something. Well, it's probably on there. Flipping heck, the 81st minute. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. And he's showing that kind of effort and energy to get up the park to get a goal. Yeah,
so. It was surprising because I didn't think Eriksen could even play 9 minutes. I'll be honest. He could obviously as a professional footballer.
Didn't really matter, did it?
A lot of people say his legs have gone, don't they? Yeah. I think I heard Goldbridge actually before. He was calling Ricky out, saying that his legs have gone. So
yeah, because everyone always says Eriksen's legs are gone, and do you know what I think it is? It's a misconception. I don't think it's the fact he can't physically play. I think it's just he's not very strong and he's not very fast. So when he is in a fast-paced game, he does kind of get lost in it. Whereas if it's a game
have to use him right.
I don't think pace and strength has ever been his strength.
It's not, but I feel like even with age that does decline even more. And I think if it's a game where you can have a lot of possession, a lot of control, for example tonight, and even when we got into the game at Southampton, that's where he shows his quality on the ball. And even his positioning, he gets into really good positions to receive the ball. Picks his passes. I think he could do that, all day long. But it's when it's a high-paced game with a lot of turnovers, he gets lost in that midfield sometimes, and that's where...
I'm not sure I agree, Beth. It's an easy thing to say, and it's like cheap journalism. You just expect that, and people who are listening will believe you as well. Not only will they believe you, but they're already thinking it. Do you know what I mean? I watched Denmark play England in the Euros. That was only 4 months ago. England had Mainu in midfield, and they had Eriksen in midfield, and they dominated the game. They were the better team.
I just don't think he's a physical player for physical games, but when he's on the ball, he's allowed that time on the ball, he's a lot better.
I remember last season or season before that, we played City, and it was the game where they beat us either 3-0 or 3-1.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I remember 2 of their goals came because Eriksen just couldn't track his runner. He just couldn't. Every time City were attacking, and the way City obviously plays, they have a lot of players making off-ball runs to create that space. Eriksen just couldn't keep up with his runner, and I can't remember who his runner was every single time. Sometimes it was Grealish, sometimes it was Foden, sometimes it was De Bruyne.
Pretty good players.
Yeah, but end of the day, that's the level we want to get to.
It is the level we want to get to.
We keep saying it's only
it is the level we want to get to. But at the minute, the best we can do, I think, we need Eriksen in that midfield trying to look after the ball more.
Well,
and I think that's what they thought about at the weekend. I know it was only Southampton, but I think and when I say they, I think the manager is talking to the likes of Barada, etc.
Nah, they're not coaching the team.
No, I'm not saying coaching the team. I think they're talking.
They're not choosing the team either.
I'm not saying they're choosing the team either. I'm saying they are talking about how to look after the ball better than at the team. I think you said to me once a few months ago that he's been told that he's got to play more possession-based football.
That's what the rumour was. Yeah.
Right, you know what I mean?
I think he's talking to his coaching staff for sure.
Eriksen's in the tean. He's only played 2 games and they're both relatively comfortable games.
That's what we're going to get beaten with, aren't we? It's only Southampton.
Can I just say, you can't say like when things go well and he's made good decisions about who can be in the team, it's Barada and Wilcox, but when things go bad, it's all on Ten Hag. Do you know what I mean? You've got to give the manager credit. Come on. Ten Hag chose to put Eriksen in the team last weekend.
I'm not so sure about that.
Oh, come on, Rick.
When he's not picked it. How long has he been sat on the bench, Beth? Come on.
No.
Are you absolutely certain that that he's suddenly decided I'm going to put Eriksen in this team. I'm not convinced.
No, I am. He said when he subbed Casemiro last year or whenever it was at half time for Eriksen, that he got asked why and he said I wanted more football.
Yeah, he did say that. Yeah.
You know, and I do believe that's why Eriksen came into midfield, because we can control the football more. We'll get onto Ugarte in a second, but what I liked about Ugarte tonight after he calmed down with all the fouling is that he just played it simple. You need more players in that team that can do that and are just going to keep hold of the ball. It's true, because Bruno does lose it quite a bit, and Casemiro, Jesus, like, not tonight, but in previous games, he loses it. Eriksen in there, the ball is safe in his possession.
96% pass.
Yeah.
You have to get the blend right in the middle of the
That's
park,
what you
don't
need,
you?
yeah.
Any good midfield, you might have the enforcer, the one that's going to run ahead and bomb on, but hopefully we've got that with Ugarte now.
But the thing is, you really have to look at who. I'm not even trying to talk about today's game. In general, in the Premier League, you have to look at who you're playing, because we're going to come against teams where most of the time Eriksen is going to be running. He's not going to be looking after the ball because we're not going to have the ball as much, especially if we eventually get into Champions League or we get into the further stages of Europa League and play in difficult competition. Is Eriksen's best attribute at holding the ball going to be the part of the game that he's going to be used for the most?
If you had the choice of Eriksen or McTominay to play, who would you pick?
Eriksen.
You'd pick Eriksen. McTominay played in the cup final and we beat City, so you'd pick Eriksen.
It's different.
I know it's different.
It's horses for courses.
Of course it is, but McTominay played in the cup final. We beat City.
In that
and if you
game,
pick Eriksen,
fair
enough. Fair enough. But you're saying that Eriksen can't play in a game like that, yet you would pick him ahead of a player who played in a cup final against City.
It depends on the game, because McTominay had a certain role in that game, and his role in that game, Eriksen couldn't have done because it relied on his physicality. He was the target man to bring the ball down, and a lot of the times it worked and bringing other players into play, and that's how we could, keep hold of the ball and win it high up the pitch. McTominay, that was his role. That was a specific role for a big match in a final. I would have had McTominay doing that over Eriksen, but I think Mordzs is saying the majority of the time as a footballer you'd opt with Eriksen. Is that what you're trying to kind of say?
Yeah, McTominay would be last on my list out of midfielders in United.
Okay.
Ricky, can I just say, I think I know the answer to this though, but has Eriksen done enough for you to be in the team at Selhurst Park on Saturday?
I'd say, yeah. It's obviously going to be a tough game, a much tougher game, but we do need to get a foot on the ball and get loads of little passes in and keep rotating the ball around the team. You see, the problem is, I want us to pick a midfield three. If Bruno's in it, there's no room.
Well, that was my next question. I was going to say, who's the fall guy? If you're putting Eriksen in,
because Ugarte's going to play, Mainoo's going to play, so he probably
so it would be Bruno. In your opinion, it would be, yeah.
Let's get a poll going. Should Eriksen start against Crystal Palace at the weekend? Let's get a poll going. Here's this. I don't think I would do this, but this is my hot take. I genuinely think Erik ten Hag will start the exact same team as he did against Southampton. I don't think Ugarte will
He often does, doesn't he, when he wins?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't think he'll change it. I think Eriksen will play. I think Mainoo will play, and I think Bruno will play.
I agree. I think Eriksen had a better game than Ugarte today.
Yeah, he did. But in terms of for the future, what we're going to need in that midfield, I did notice when Ugarte came off, I do think...
We can keep the ball a lot against Crystal Palace.
Pardon?
So we can keep the ball, the same way we kept the ball today, we can do the same thing against Crystal Palace. I don't think it's going to be a game where, like the point I made before about like a City or an Arsenal or Liverpool or whatever, where let's say they might try and keep possession a lot more. I don't think it's going to be that crazy against Crystal Palace where he's having to run a lot. I think the same way how we played today, the same way we played against Southampton, not for the whole game, but when we were actually playing well against Southampton, we can do that against Crystal Palace with Eriksen. I'd actually... From what I've seen today anyway and what I saw against Southampton, I think Eriksen will probably do a better job.
Crystal Palace is a different game altogether, isn't it?
It's a lot more energy.
I don't think it's...
It's going to be a lot quicker than Barnsley this evening.
Yeah.
And Southampton were...
I actually think you need Ugarte in that part. For me personally, even though I think it's really unfair, and I think Ten Hag will start with Eriksen, I would go as you mean to go on. I'd go Mainoo, Ugarte and Bruno. You have
to start getting them combinations, don't you?
I think you need the energy. I think you need the energy in there as well against Palace.
5th Premier League game of the season. You need to start, developing and getting them little clicks on the pitch. Time's running out, really, isn't it? It was only a few weeks ago. It was almost like season over, wasn't it, when we got beat by Liverpool? And at least we've back to back now. We've won 2 games, which is great. Siraj says, enjoying Ricky versus Beth, lol. Einar says, you can't say it's only Barnsley or only this team. You still have to score the goals against and big teams don't always do
do that. You can always slip up. True. Luke Hughes says, let's not carried away. It was a great scoreline, but it's a League One side. Let's see if we can do it Saturday evening. United. Patrice Everett says, why do Ricky and Beth hate each other? Don't fight. We don't. We watched the game together tonight. Didn't we, Rick?
Yeah, we
watched
did.
the game
It's a
together.
love-hate relationship.
Nah, it's just debating football. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And my job as a host is to try and prod and poke.
You're good at that.
And get like different opinions, or else it'd just be a boring show. STG66 says, regardless of the win against a League One side, our boys look like a team tonight, not individuals. Left the pub proud of our Reds. Love that. Yellow Sun says, great goals and assists by Eriksen, but like Ricky always says, if he wasn't there, someone else would do it. No need to start him. United One says, agree with Ricky, Eriksen's lack of productivity is also a systematic issue, as it is with Casemiro, showing but seems some people try and ignore it for Erik Ten Hag's sake. Keil Robinson says, a high press destroys Eriksen, keep it real. And the poll on whether Eriksen should start versus Palace, let's see what that's on. Get your votes in on that, and when it comes through, I'll bring it up. But yeah, that
Should be an interesting poll, actually. Yeah.
I mean, talking about Ugarte, obviously, Manu got a full rest tonight, thank God, because he needed it. Hopefully, he'll be fresh at the weekend, and I definitely think he'll start. But Ugarte, Mordzs, you said you didn't seem too keen on his performance tonight. What did you think?
Not the full performance. I think he grew into it definitely in the second half. But I think first half he was giving away a lot of fouls. He was a bit reckless at sometimes. Very like, I get, he's this tenacious player, but sometimes it was a bit too tenacious, giving away the ball. Not just giving away the ball, but it's just like simple fouls. I think he gave away the most fouls in the game out of everyone. And today we were giving away so many fouls. I think we gave away 16 free kicks or something wild like that. And I think he lost quite a few duels. I think he also lost the most amount of duels out of everyone today. So I don't think his performance was amazing. Like I said, he definitely grew into the game as it went along, but it did start off, in my opinion, a bit too reckless. But it's, again, I think it's something that he can obviously work on and develop on, and he can improve, yeah.
Do you know what it is? I think he just, it's his first game, that's his character, that's his style. And at first I was like, you're right, okay, like, we need to chill with the fouls.
And he didn't get a yellow card, I'm surprised.
But once he did...
That was amazing, he didn't get
Yeah, he could have got it easy.
Same for Collier as well, he must have given 5 free kicks away in the first
5 or 6 Ugarte in the first sort of 15 minutes, and you did look and think...
would be punished by that very easily.
Once he did calm down, I actually thought he did really well. I thought his interception for that Garnacho goal, I think it was Garnacho, the one-on-one chance he got, Ugarte started it with a brilliant interception. That's what we want to see more. That's how we want to be under Ten Hag. Intercepting the play and then just pouncing on the opposition, which is what we did. Love that from him. And do you know what I like about him as well? Is when he gets the ball, keeps it simple. Passes it left, passes it right. Few really nice switches in there. We need more players in the midfield that are going to win the ball, pass it off. Win the ball, pass it off. Instead of doing these fancy passes that often, you can get depossessed and then a counter-attack is on. That's what I liked about Ugarte. I mean, Ricky, did you think he settled into the game?
Yeah, he definitely got a lot better. Not that he was absolutely terrible to start with. He did some good stuff. Like you say, he was calm on the ball. He passed it well a few times. But I agree with Mordzs. I was a bit surprised how many fouls he gave away, and I was very surprised he didn't get a yellow card. They do have a totting up process, and sometimes it's only like 3 or 4, isn't it? And
you're not getting away with that in the Premier League.
5 or 6, yeah.
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah.
It's a different...
I think he kept doing it because he kept getting away with it.
Yeah.
I mean, Kev, what were your thoughts on it? First start for him?
Liked what I've seen. I thought, well, you spent 50 million quid on him or whatever, then he needs to get into this team. He is effectively really what we thought Casemiro would be this season. Nobody could have foreseen the kind of drop-off. When you sign a player like Casemiro for 70 million, you give him 300 and whatever grand a week, you were probably expecting maybe 3 or 4 seasons maybe out of him at that stage. You couldn't have foreseen what was going to happen to him. So to get Ugarte, and he's obviously now been identified as the kind of player that's going to be able to do this kind of holding midfield role. So it's the sooner we get him in, bedded in, the better. I think we always knew against Southampton he was going to come on, a bit of a cameo kind of role, which it was great to bring him on when we were winning. And first start today. And then, obviously, we moved to Selhurst Park, which will be totally different because you talk about if he is going to have like disciplinary issues or mistimed challenges, which is what Casemiro's been doing, he's going to have to cut that out of his game straight away. You can't say, oh, he's mistimed that because his legs are going like Casemiro. with Ugarte, now it's going to have to be, you're going to have to be a bit more streetwise here, mate, because you don't get any, like, it's not like the old days now where you can go through somebody in the first couple of minutes and they go, calm down there, sunshine, you know, next one you booked. Now it's just like, bang, yellow card. Yeah.
What I liked about him is, one, he stayed on his feet, which is the difference, and two, when you look at the difference, like his energy levels, the way he can get about the pitch, I mean, I was like, he was pressing really well too, and again, like, you know,
it's a polar opposite to Casemiro. That's what we thought we had, and now we've got like a younger, quicker, more athletic version of him.
You need Ugarte in an Erik Ten Hag system in that midfield, and that's why I'm so excited. I hope he plays against Palace, because I'm really excited to see how he deals with that situation, because I think Mainoo's been crying out for having someone next to him that's going to go and do that dirty work. He's going to press well. He's going to get about the pitch, and he's going to literally just pass it simple, and hopefully he gets the ball, wins it back, or gets it off the back four, passes it to Mainoo. Mainoo can carry it on the pitch. You know how good he can be on the ball. Happy days. That's what I'm hoping we get to see. So I think Ugarte massively suits the way Erik Ten Hag is wanting to play with us, with that high press and the high turnovers. Again, just got to time his challenges a bit better. But it is the first game, his first Old Trafford, and it is against Barnsley in the Cup. It's one of them where you can't really properly judge it. But let's go through each of us, and everyone get yours in the chat as well. I'd be really interested to know. Everyone name their midfield three for Palace. We'll start with you, Kev.
Palace would be Ugarte, Mainoo and Bruno. I can see Ricky looking at me here. I'm like, I'm Bruno as well.
Maybe this is surprising, but I'd actually go with Bruno, Mainoo and Eriksen.
Rick?
Ugarte, Mainoo and Eriksen.
Okay.
Bruno.
I would go with Mainoo, Ugarte and Bruno. Same as you, Kev, I think that was.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the majority are going to hope to see at some point. But it's nice that we're getting that depth in. And can I just say, like, obviously no one's opted for Casemiro there. Casemiro did a job tonight. Still looks a bit slow at times, to be honest. But, you know, he did a job. And to have that depth there, then I think that's a positive sign. And there is games where you probably can play Ugarte and Casemiro together for a bit more reassurance. You can't really, gauge Casemiro against Barnsley because he's been so poor against the good teams. So it's like, it's one of them.
Like you said earlier, there might be certain games that you look at where you think defensively you need to be solid, you need that extra protection in front of the back four, and fair enough, you might be able to do Casemiro and Ugarte, but it depends what that team is, you know, and you don't want to send out a negative kind of vibe going into a game. If it's certainly, let's look ahead to Crystal Palace. If you're looking at that, then you don't need that extra protection. You know, I don't know what message that would send out, but that's why I would definitely go Casemiro, Mainoo and Bruno. That's Casemiro, Ugarte, sorry, instead. Yeah.
I think it is. I feel bad not putting Eriksen in there, because if Eriksen starts, I won't be mad about it if Eriksen starts, because I think the last two games you can only play well in the games that you're in, Southampton and Barnsley, but I think he's done really well. So I just don't know. I just don't think Palace away is his game. I don't think it suits his best attributes, because I think it will be physical, and I think it will be end-to-end, but let's see.
Last season's still fresh in the memory. I think that's why when you look at that, and we took a proper beating there at Palace, you know, when you think we got overrun, we got outfought, we got outplayed, and that's why I'm kind of contradicting what I always say, because I always say keep players in on merit. So really, the form player is Eriksen. But again, you can kind of look and go, it's Carabao Cup, it's Barnsley, you know, and then you have to look ahead. I think I know Crystal Palace is going to be a total different game to what this was this evening. And Southampton, you know, people keep telling us it's only Southampton, don't get too giddy. It's only, you know, hopefully they're saying it on Saturday evening. It's only Crystal Palace, don't be getting giddy. I'll take that every day of the week.
The positive with Ugarte is the fact that he's shown what we wanted him to bring to the team. Even though, he did have the whole, like I said, he did start off a bit reckless, at least he's been able to show what Casemiro hasn't been able to show. So it's something that he can obviously, like I said, develop on. And the negative sides of his game, I feel like the negative parts of what I saw today are things that can easily be changed. They're not things that are like, oh, this might be like a problematic. It's something that is just about, like I said, staying on your feet, not being a bit too aggressive. And when he starts playing more Premier League football and he understands referees are not going to like you doing that, they're not going to be as lenient when you're committing certain fouls. It's just something that you just learn by playing more and more football. And
he hadn't even played that much football before coming to United. I know he had the international break where he played 2 games. I think he lasted 70 minutes in one of them. So he hasn't really had a pre-season. For PSG, he was kind of putting the old bomb squad or whatever they call it that everyone goes in now when you try to get rid of a player. But
getting himself back up to
that's what it
speed.
is. Match fitness.
Because international football is different as well. Poster Beats has said something interesting. We had a massive interception rate. Makes such a difference having so much possession in the final third. Yeah, we've just got to take that into games that are actually in the Premier League now and at the level we need to be competing at. I mean, the poll on should Eriksen start versus Palace, 70% say no, 30% say yes. I'm a bit surprised it's that much of a gap to it. I thought it'd be like 60-40, but 70% say no, 30% say yes. Interesting stuff there. I mean, Ricky, Toby Collier, do you think he has a career at left full back?
I doubt it at left full back. He's not a left full back, is he? You know what I mean? Yeah. What I've seen of him in midfield, he looks all right. I'd like to see a little bit more of it.
Tell you what though, Mordzs, he did a job and bless him. Like that was 10-half for him right him at the deep end. I know it's Barnsley, but still.
It was hot. It was very. Before when you brought it to me on the build-up, I was thinking, why? But did he play that when he was a kid or something? Why is he playing left back?
Get your head around it.
Yeah, and I think to be fair, again, it was a tough game for him. I think he really learnt what that first team football, that top flight football really is. Because I did think he found it a bit difficult at times. Again, another player that grew into the game, and I thought he definitely got a lot better as it went on.
But again, he's not a left back, so obviously he's not going to time all of his
challenges. It's harsh. It's harsh.
He's really. I know, they are League One, but still, it's professional football, and it's it's on his left side, defending at a different angle. Timing the headers with the balls coming over the top as well from that angle. It is difficult. At the start, I was like, oh no, you might need to get subbed at half time at this rate, but. Fair play, he dug in, and you know what? Got a clean sheet, and we got to rest Mazraoui, so it worked out from Eriksen, didn't it?
It reminded me a bit of when United played Amrabat at left back, because you kind of looked, and early on you were a bit like, ooh, not sure I like the look of this, heartburn and all that. But as the game went on, he was kind of steady and all right, but ultimately you kind of looked at him and went, he's never a left back. But in fairness to Collier. Whether it's Ten Hag that's had the chat with him and asked him, will you play at left back? A young lad like that, you have to think, fair play to him. If he said, I'll do anything. And we said this on the Monday night show, didn't we? We were talking about players that want to play for the team. And I said, Wayne Rooney would have gone in net, he would have been a ball boy, he would have done anything to play. Collier must have loved that, even though he wasn't in his preferred position. But it's tough because he's been thrown in at left back this evening and thrown on at half-time against Liverpool, when we were getting absolutely whooped. So, the Liverpool game was a huge one, but even this evening to play him out of position, it's a big thing, that.
Shows how much Ten Hag trusts him, but also shows the attitude of Collier, because I was reading an article, actually, last week, and someone had interviewed his ex-coach in the Brighton Academy, and they were saying what you get with Collier is someone who'll run through brick walls for you or do anything.
Because he's come through the academy.
You can see.
And that's the difference. Look at Antony when he was asked to play left back in extra time against Liverpool, last season in the FA Cup. Spat his dummy out, didn't he? Oh. You had people going over to him, United players saying, get your head straight here, we're going into extra time. And you've got him saying, I'm not playing left back. Throwing his toys out the pram or whatever, whereas in stark contrast, you've got a lad that's come through the academy, I'll play anywhere, boss.
Yeah, he's humble. It's nice to see. Eric Ten Hag quote on Rashford, in my first season, he had that vibe, that good humour. When I see Marcus's smile, I'm calm, serene, I'm convinced he's going to score. So Eric Ten Hag back in Rashford again there. Put a lot of faith in this player, Mordzs, a lot of faith.
Yeah. Which
hopefully it pays off for him.
Yeah, I was going to say, hopefully it pays off for him.
I mean, in terms of the forward players against Palace, do you think Garnacho's done enough to get a start, or do you reckon it'll be Ahmad and Rashford on the wings and Xerxes up top again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, to the answer, those three. I think it'll be those three.
You think it will be?
Yeah. Is that your choice, or what you think Ten Hag's going to do?
He'll just stick with
Rashford and Ahmad,
Xerxes and Rashford. Oh, yeah. But the problem is, a lot of people might think that Garnacho might be threatening Ahmad's place, but he should be threatening Rashford's place, not Ahmad's place.
I agree with that.
Despite the fact that he scored a goal at Southampton and scored 2 goals tonight. Garnacho's a bit more electric, and Ahmad's also a little bit more electric. He keeps the ball tight to his feet. Ahmad especially, much better player.
I also think Garnacho's best position is on the left. I know people think it's the right, I think it's the left. And that's his preferred position as well. That's Rashford's best position. They should be competing for that. But they also showed they can play together. They showed they can play together tonight, and like as you can see through the picture behind. So again, it's good to have that sort of competition. It's nice to see. De Ligt, Mazraoui got a couple of minutes there towards the end, Kev. Rested. Everyone, oh God, when
I was a bit worried actually when they were coming on. I was like, what's he doing?
When Ugarte went down, I was like, oh no, not another injury, please, not an injury. Like you have
The
that.
dash was big as well.
You have that PTSD. By the way, how that was a free kick to them, like that. Even though Ugarte did a lot of fouls, like that one was definitely a free kick to us. But I mean, you get worried about them injuries, but coming through a game like this in the Carabao Cup, injury-free as well, Kev, it's so important, isn't it?
Leading into this, I was just thinking all these players that kind of went off with knocks and cramp against Southampton. I'm thinking, just wrap them up in cotton wool. And then when I kind of seen the bench tonight, I was surprised because the bench almost looked like it could have been the first team. You know, you think, that's a strong bench, that. And I'm thinking, they've not really got the evening off here. And then when he started bringing them on, and in a way, listen, it has worked. We're injury-free unless we hear something different from Erik ten Hag, but it has worked. We've gone out there, done the job, and the good thing was that the substitutions that he made, everybody, like I said earlier, is trying to come on and prove a point. Everybody wanted to score. It was just like a goal fest. We never took our foot off the pedal, which was refreshing, really, isn't it? You see a lot of games like that, half-time, where they'll make a few subs and the intensity drops off, but I think you've got that many people now that are fighting to get into this team. It just makes it quite interesting. You mentioned the left-hand side before. That, for me, becomes a little bit of a problem area because I don't see competition on that side. I think it's always going to be kind of Rashford. And listen, he has started scoring now. You know, last game, tonight he's got a couple. But I do look at that sometimes and I think it's not fair competition on that side. I still don't think Ten Hag, for some reason, has got the kind of balls to drop Rashford, which I don't know why. I can't understand it.
I was watching Rashford tonight, and it's like the burst of pace, you know, his skill, like the way he just like smashed it in. Like I was like, I know he's a different opposition, but the confidence, because he knew he was playing that sort of team, just the confidence within him. I was like, he was even getting up winning headers, which he doesn't usually do, and I'm like, please take that into the next game. And it's amazing he's such a confidence player. And I do think Ten Hag has had he's kept the faith in him where I would have been starting, Garnacho over him at the start of this season, whereas, he's kept with Rashford. And going to be honest, like for me, I stick with Xerxes, Rashford and Ahmad against Palace. That is what I would go with. But it's great to see Garnacho continuing to knock on the door, and it forces Rashford to keep getting them contributions, because if he doesn't, he knows there's someone there that will be taking his spot, and that's what the important thing is.
The only thing I would say is I would have wanted to see maybe a couple, I said it on the build-up show, a couple more young players that get a chance. You think a game that we're winning 7-0, or we eventually won 7-0, you'd see him throw in a couple like a Ethan Wheatley, or even like if a Harry Amos was on the bench.
Shocked about he didn't bring Wheatley on, really.
Yeah,
shocked.
just let them run around a little bit. We're not going to get another. How many opportunities are we going to get like this against this opposition to play the young players? Realistically, if they are going to get an opportunity now, it's going to be against maybe a Premier League opposition, or we might end up playing a similar opposition in the next round, but it's not guaranteed.
Jims has said no CDM away versus Palace is madness. 4-0 last season. Mr. Ricky and Mordzs, I think.
No CDM.
Oh no, you said Ugarte, didn't you? No, it was you who said no.
Well, mainly when Eriksen, they can play that.
You have Patrice Everett saying, I wish I could be 25 again and play left back. Don't we all? Don't we really all? And Felix Flaxman, thank you for your contribution as well. Let's get on to it then. Man of the matches.
Wow.
And magic moment as well. We'll do that
too. Best magic moment.
We'll do magic moment first, actually. What was everyone's magic moment?
Do you know what? I'm going to go the first goal, Rashford's, because I think it's been that long since I've seen him. You think back a couple of seasons ago when he was absolutely, and he was explosive. He was scoring goals week in, week out. Whether the all-round performance was there, I can see Ricky staring at me here, giving me daggers. But we did agree that sometimes the goals did mask the overall performance, and that's what you see. And he got the headlines and that. But to see the confidence in the roll over the foot, the bit of skill and the finish as well. I think it was top draw. So again, it's a confidence builder. It's something to take to Selhurst Park. There you go.
Anyone else got a shout?
Eriksen's through ball for Garnacho's goal from inside right.
See, I was going to give it to Garnacho's ball to Rashford. That crossfield pass. So I'll go with Garnacho's ball over to Rashford, that crossfield pass, which was really good. You are going to go with Eriksen's through ball for Garnacho's goal.
We're mixing it up here.
Do I have to do something different? Or can I
Yeah.
you can do. I'm trying to remember all the goals.
Come on, there was only 7 of them.
I'm just going to say because I think the Rashford's second goal came because we were pressing really high. We won the ball back high, and then it was like a quick little pass from Garnacho to Rashford, and he finished it off first time. I think that's kind of what we wanted to be doing, or we've been asking this team to be doing for a long time. So I'm going to say that's my.
This is definitely a first on the United stand. Mordzs is having to look round to see who scored the goals.
I can't remember what the goals were. I can't remember.
And do you know what? I think he scored with his left foot as well. Which,
yeah, he did.
You know, he's good. So yeah, there are magic moments. Get in the comments down below. Your magic moments are. Dreams and I says magic moment was Bayern Day not having to make a save.
Yeah, literally.
Like we were like, he probably wants to shot him at this point. Yeah. Poor guy. And he didn't get any action tonight, did he?
No.
Anyway, man of the matches. Kev, we'll start with you.
Man of the match, I would probably a popular opinion, but I'm going with it. Of course I am, man. Garnacho.
Garnacho.
Viva Garnacho.
Mordzs.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to go with Garnacho. I did say before, if it wasn't the fact that he obviously got 2 goals, 2 assists, I would have said Eriksen, but I can't not give it to Garnacho.
Eriksen got 2 goals and 1 assist.
It's close.
Not a bad effort.
It's not. It's close.
You're not taking into account goals and assists. It's not.
But I mean, they
effort.
had 2. They were at 5-0. So, but yeah, I'll say Garnacho as well.
Rick.
Yeah, that's a point. Yeah, they were all Garnacho's and Eriksen's goals were all in the second half, and we was already 3 up to start with, weren't we? I'll go Eriksen.
I thought you told me you were going to give it Garnacho.
I'll go Garnacho.
Jeremiah says, I don't care if it's only Barnsley. This squad would have struggled last season in this game, and now we just need some consistency. Come on, United. That is the attitude.
We did struggle in similar games, didn't we? You mentioned that.
People won't want to hear it, but the stats so far this season are better than last season, so hopefully can build off that. It's like, you couldn't get any worse than last season, to be honest. So let's just build off that, and hopefully, again, like we say, real test is Palace on Saturday, and we'll see how we do there. Apparently, I've just been told there was 34 penalties between Preston and Fulham.
Wow.
What?
Who actually ended up winning the game? Do we know? He's gone silent now. Patrice Everest says, Ricky's magic moment. Johnny Evans running around. Thank you everyone for your contribution.
He was class, by the way.
No one got the predictions right as well.
Yeah, no one got the
would
predictions.
have had 7-0, I don't think, was it?
Kev was close.
I was sweating on 5-0. I thought
Kev went 5 and I thought, ooh.
people in the
nearly.
group chat were questioning Kev. They were like, he's gone a bit heavy here on 5-0.
Preston won, not Fulham out after 34 pens. Wow.
See, look, Premier League team losing to a non-Premier League team happens.
Yeah, it does happen. It does happen. Do you know what? I'll go Garnacho as well. Clean sweep. Clean sweep for Garnacho on the fans forum just after Ricky was, saying that what you're saying.
He was toying with Christian Eriksen and then
He heard you.
give it
Do you know what he heard you? And do you know who else heard you? Bruno with his 2 assists, talking about his assist record. Can't count the cups. I'm only having banter.
7-0 against Barnsley.
I'm only having a bit of banter, Ricky. Only having a bit of banter. But everyone, let's see. Do you reckon we'll get 3 points against Palace?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we like the positivity. We'll wait for our predictions. Wait for our predictions for the build-up show.
I won't be putting 5-0 for that one anyway.
Are we all here for the forum for the Palace game?
Don't know.
I'll be here for the forum.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out. But look, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for staying with us. And it's a late one this Tuesday night. We've got so many of you watching. We really thank you for that. Make sure you hit a like on the video before you leave us. Ricky, Mordzs and Kev, feel like I've spent more time with you guys than my family the last couple of weeks.
Back again Saturday.
But see you Saturday. And yeah, any other news or anything, we'll be back as we always are throughout the week. All the previews building up to the Palace game. Let's hope we can get another win in the Premier League and we can start as we mean to go on after this international break and get some points on the board. But look, everyone, thank you for watching. We are through to the next round and we will see you on the next one.